from Julio Cruz and Gaylord Perry to Alvin Davis and Harold Reynolds to father and son back-to-back bombs, from Junior J, Joey, and Edgar with Randy, A-Rod, Dan, and the Sheriff, to Ichiro Moyer and Mikey C, to King Felix, Kyle Cruz, and Cano, to the present with Julio, Gilbert, Kirby, and Cal. I don't believe it. It just continues. My, oh my, it's another sports podcast. My, oh my, it's another sports podcast. It's your boy Ty Talks 24 here. Got to give a huge shout out to super producer Indy out there in Nashville, Tennessee, rocking the ones and twos. It's Vaden Podcast Services. That's Vaden Podcast Services. They're bringing the show to life. Sorry, I'm missing all the homies in the live chat tonight. But of course, I got to give the biggest shout out to my main man, RG. He's been a terror since the public school era. My, oh my, it's another sports podcast. We are unable to come to you as normal on YouTube Live on Sunday evening. And it's your boy Ty Talks, and I'm rolling solo tonight. So with one captain in the ship, we're going to try to keep this thing from crashing into the rocks here. My, oh my, you know what we do. We can't, we won't, and we don't stop. And Cal Raleigh will hit him with the sure shot. Man, our beloved Mariners, this team has struggled the last week and a half, going 2-6 at Houston and home versus Washington before a big bounce back weekend with back-to-back walk-offs versus the Minnesota Twins. This last week and a half, we've seen bullpen implosions. We've seen a struggling offense. We've seen a once elite pitching staff struggle at times, labor at times, but regardless, struggles will happen in a Major League Baseball season. There's 162 games. There's going to be peaks. There's going to be valleys. But here's what I'm looking right now. After an April and March with some really damn good hitting from most players on the team, we have regressed to the mean a bit, and I am a little bit concerned, but let's just look at it like this. The Mariners have the 7th most runners left in scoring position per game and have now fallen to the 5th most times struck out per game. So we thought this lineup looked shaky on paper. They came out and were kicking ass and taking names the first month and a half of the season, but now we got the whole month, 31 days in May, and it's kind of been a struggle for our hitters up here at the dish. And I want to start with Jorge Polanco. Now, he has been a good hitter for 10 of his 12 seasons in the bigs. I repeat, he has been a good hitter 10 out of 12 years. But in March and April, that is, Jorge Polanco was putting up frickin' Ted Williams numbers. Obviously, that wasn't going to continue all year. In that month and a half to start the season, Jorge had a 1.142 OPS, but comes crashing down to earth with a meager 4.13 OPS in the month of May. This dude is getting older. He is recovering from a knee surgery in the offseason. He's been battling an oblique problem the last month and a half. And I mean, the bottom line is we knew Polo wasn't going to be putting up Ted Williams type numbers for the entire season. And let's just put this in perspective. If Polo can steady himself, he'll still have a good season, and he's kind of on par for what he's done in his career. In the year 2025, as we speak right now, his batting average is only 8 points less than his career mark, and his OPS is actually 34 points higher than his career mark. So I'm just hoping if Jorge Polanco can steady himself and stop this precipitous drop right now, we'll be all right, and we need him. We really need him because there's not a ton of answers out there besides, of course, how am I not going to get into this dude right away? Cal Raleigh has been freaking unbelievable. It's really hard to describe how good he has been. I mean, we always know he's been a tremendous defender. We always know he's great at calling the games, and I think he might even do a better job in terms of pitch calling, which he is really good at. But he also handles his pitchers. He knows their personalities, he knows their demeanors, and helps them navigate these wicked major league lineups. But let's look at it from a stats perspective, because intangibles are great, but what are you tangibly doing on the field? And Cal freaking Raleigh has emerged as a top 5, maybe even top 2 player in the entire planet right now, bro. We're talking about he's tied for first in homers. Cal's tied for 6th in RBI. That's 4th in OPS and 3rd in WAR. And analytically, and the eye test tells you Cal Raleigh is in the elite of elite right now. So happy to see this. And we'll talk about another young man here in a minute. But it's always so fun as a baseball fan. It's one thing if you sign a guy from free agency. It was cool to sign Robbie Cano. It was cool to sign Nelson Cruz. It was fun to trade for Teoscar Hernandez. But when you see a homegrown player who was either drafted in the American draft or he was an international free agent, to see a guy that is either a teenager or a college age type of person go from rookie ball, the Arizona Fall League, to make his way up to the Modesto Nuts, which will be no longer here in a minute, to go all the way up through the minor league system and make it to the majors is an incredible journey. And to see a prospect like Cal improve to an elite player that he is fantastic. I know y'all can't forget when we first brought Cal up, he was riding the struggle bus for a minute and a half there. They send him back to AAA. Then I believe it was Tom Murphy at the time gets hurt, so they're forced to call Cal back up. The rest is history. The Mariners have an elite catcher. I'm not afraid to say that he's already the best catcher in franchise history. It's only looking up, and $100 million might be a freaking bargain for this dude. So we can't shout out Cal Raleigh enough. Now, I want to get into Julio Rodriguez because he's a polarizing player. The dude got the bag plus some. I'm well aware of that. But a lot of people have expectations, or they just don't really understand how good Julio is across the board. Do we want more from him at the dish? Of course we do. We want a higher average. We want more homers. We need more RBI. But the bottom line is Julio already has amassed a 2.1 WAR, which makes him equal to Corbin Carroll and a higher WAR than Matt Olson. Let's go to JP Crawford. He was on the struggle bus for much of May after a blistering April, but the dog comes up huge, clutch, homers, doubles, singles, walks against Minnesota when this team desperately needed a couple of wins. JP Crawford has amassed a WAR of 1.9, which is equal to Manny Machado and higher than Francisco Lindor. This is a really hard game. These guys are going to have peaks and valleys. Do I want more from Julio more consistently? Abso-freaking-lutely. But the bottom line is these guys are playing really good baseball. And when you include defense and base running as part of the equation, we're talking about Julio and JP up there with some of the biggest names in the sport. I want more, but don't get it twisted. These guys are contributing to many of the wins that the Mariners have amassed so far this season. Let's keep this thing rolling, man. Let's keep this thing rolling. It's a huge bounce back, man. Saturday and Sunday versus Minnesota. It was both walk off, one in the extras, one in the ninth. And then the Mariners had a couple of bullpen implosions, one versus the Nationals, one versus the Twins, where you're going into the 10th inning. You're optimistic. Let's just hold them to a run or maybe hopefully none. We can get on this thing. Bullpen implodes. You get your asses kicked. But this is where you bounce back. This is where you bounce back. And this is huge. Now, I want to look at something right now at first base. It's a tough one for me, man, because do I know if Harry Ford can play first base? I don't know. It's a difficult position to play, but I'm going to keep it real here, folks. If I had to pick the easiest position to field in baseball, I would say it is first base. Why am I talking about Harry Ford? Why am I hoping for Tyler Locklear? Because right now at a first base, the Mariners have a combined negative 0.9 WAR with Rowdy Tellez and Donovan Solano. I love Rowdy, but it really isn't happening right now. It really isn't. So I got a couple of solutions because the Mariners cannot go forward with a negative .9 WAR at first base. That is just unsustainable, and it'll bite us in the ass long term, I promise you. Now, perception is Dylan Moore, super utility dude, even the Gold Glover for the utility man in the season of 2024. Now, Demo, we know, kills lefties. Demo kills lefties. An OPS over 1,000 this year against those Southpaws. But it's not true that he sucks against righties. It's actually not even close. I'm not going to argue that he's good, though, either. But he is much better than Tellez or Solano to put at first base right now. Against righties on the season, Demo's hitting .253 with a .686 OPS and 3 bombs. I know that's not great. I know that's not good. But even Rowdy Tellez only has a .216 average against right-handed hitters, and that's really all he can do at the big leagues right now. Let's look at Harry Ford. I know that maybe you don't want to put him at first base. I'm willing to try anything at this point, to be honest. Because this dude on the season in Tacoma, the year 2025, Harry Ford has hit .325 with a .921 OPS at Tacktown. And in the month of May, he went on freaking fire with a .411 average and a 1.119 OPS in the month of May. I know Tyler Locklear has struggled a bit in the month of May with only a .638 OPS, but it's still at .778 on the season. At least Tyler Locklear has some upside. Harry Ford probably has a lot of upside. I'm about done with the Rowdy Tellez and Donovan Solano project, experiment, prayer, whatever you want to call that situation there first. We got to get better there, whether it's giving Demo more reps there or bringing up one of these young studs at Tacoma. Let's move on a little bit. Let's move on. I've been talking hitting this whole damn thing so far. La Piedra, living up to his freaking nickname. He's had a couple of rough ones this year, but in a starting rotation where Bryce Miller hasn't found his stuff yet, where George Kirby might have been rushed back because he has really struggled. He has given up 11 earned runs and 8.2 innings pitched. He doesn't have his typical George Kirby command, and his K to walk ratio is only 2.7. Why is that important? His career mark is at 7.3. That's a major drop off. I think they rushed George Kirby back. So we've had some problems in the starting rotation without question. Oh, don't forget LOG, the OG, man, Logan Gilbert. 3 starts on the season. This is significant shit, y'all. That's why freaking Luis Castillo, La Piedra, the Rock of Gibraltar, the Rock of the rotation, coming out with a 3.03 ERA and 7 out of 12 quality starts. I like that shit, man. Wish maybe he had a couple more in there, but that's cool, man. He's holding it down for this team, including a brilliant start Sunday afternoon on a beautiful day in Sodo, Seattle. Coming up huge. Thank you, Luis Castillo. Brian Wu doing his thing, and consistency. It's a consistency that I love because the dude has 9 quality starts out of 11 starts in total. That's 9 out of 11. Freaking awesome. And Emerson Hancock, obviously, he couldn't get out of the first inning on his first start. Got a bus ticket to Tacoma immediately. But he's put together 4 quality starts, and although I don't think he's ever going to be a major impact front of the rotation dude, I do think he can be a quality starting rotation pitcher on a winning ball club. And to put it in perspective right now, this dude has had some arm problems along the way. And with Emerson Hancock, I've seen him most of his career pitching in the low 90s with his fastball. The last start or two, I've seen him pushing 95 to 97 on a somewhat consistent basis. If Emerson Hancock can push that velocity up into the mid to high 90s compared to the low 90s, this is a different story. So hopefully maybe he is strengthening his arm, recovering some of it from his lumps along the way in the minors, and maybe we get the best of him. But I'm also wondering, Logan Evans gets sent down, and the dude had a 2.83 ERA as a rookie. I saw him in his major league debut with my sister down at the ballpark, beautiful T-Mobile, and we instantly saw that this dude can mix speeds. In his very first start, now let's give credit to Cal Raleigh. I want to do that again. I mean, a catcher's got so many hats he needs to wear, and calling pitches is one of them. But he can do a great job of mixing up speeds, and that's critical in today's era of baseball. Screw it. In 150, 200 years of baseball, mixing up speeds is critical. And I want to talk about critical, man. I was at the ballpark with one of my great friends, and defense matters. Defense freaking matters. We're talking about a barn burner of a game. We're getting into the late innings and critical outfield assists from your Seattle Mariners. That shit's coming up huge, man. I'm talking about we're in the top of the 8th inning and Cody Clemens hits an absolute laser beam, a freaking missile to left field. Randy Arozarena charges in just a couple of steps, settles himself just enough, realizing that that thing might go flying further than the trajectory looks, catches the ball, fires back into second. That is a 7-4 double play in a critical moment. A 7-4 double play in a critical moment. Let's go to the 10th inning, man. I'm sitting first row dead center field, and we get a single right up the gut. Julio's charging and fires a 97-mile-per-hour freaking missile right on the money to nail Matt Warner at the plate. The would-be go-ahead run in the 10th inning, nailed down by Julio from the outfield. DOA, as the great Dave Niehaus would say. I fucking love it, man. I love cannon throws from the outfield. And on Saturday afternoon / evening, our Mariners outfielder brought him home in the most critical of moments. Either of those 2 runs score late, we are probably talking about a different ball game. Oh my gosh. Can you tell I love these Seattle Mariners a little bit? Shit, man. I'll be riding with these guys till the day I die. But let's get to a young man here. He is only 21 years old, drafted out of high school in 2022. The Mariners' first round pick number 21 out of North Allegheny High in Pennsylvania. That's none other than freaking Cole Young. And it hasn't been a sexy start for him so far. Only 1 of 7 in his first 2 starts. But being at the ballpark on Saturday evening to see another MLB debut, I got some good luck this year, man. I've been to 2 games. I've seen 2 Mariners wins, and I've seen 2 major league debuts by 2 young men that I think will be major contributors for a long time for our favorite ball club up here in the Pacific Northwest. But Cole Young in his first game going 1 for 4. He, in his very first at bat, first pitch swinging. I love the balls. And you know what? If you're not the leadoff hitter and you're the 8th hitter in the lineup like Cole has been, dude, if you like that first pitch, be ready to swing. Now, he just popped it up to right field, but I like that in his first bat in the major leagues, the dude wasn't scared. He was ready to hit, and I freaking love that about him. We also saw Cole. He was able to work some counts. He was able to work a walk. He was also hit a laser single to right field. So we saw a young man that was able to be aggressive on a pitch he liked early, also able to work some counts. And now when we're talking about working counts, in the most critical of moments, man on third, bottom of the 11th, your first game in the major leagues, and the count starts 0-2. Then you foul off 3 or 4 pitches in a row, and I know it wasn't sexy, but that man on third and 1 out, what do I love to say? You gotta get this guy home by any means necessary. All it took was a wheat chopper to first base, not enough velocity on the hit to be able to make a throw to home in time. Mariners walk it off, and what's crazy to me is just 2 days prior, playing for Tacoma, Cole Young hit a weak chopper to first base that ended up being the walk-off RBI. The moral of the story is, kids, you don't always have to go home run hunting. Play with strategy. Hit with the plan. In both of those scenarios, that man on third with 1 out, get him home by any means necessary. Even if it's a weak chopper, I don't give a shit. All that matters is you see all of your homies on your team coming, cheering, dumping Gatorade, throwing gum, all that good shit we love on a walk-off hit. And I found out something else. It wasn't actually a walk-off hit, but it was a walk-off fielder's choice. Dude, I'm getting kind of crazy here, but I love this right now, man. I love this. It was a really tough week and a half. The Mariners have had kind of an up and down season for the most part. The beginning was really shitty. The middle was extremely good, extremely productive. And then much of the month of May has honestly been a struggle. Like I said, Mariners coming into the weekend versus Minnesota, we're talking about 2 out of 6. 2 out of 6 as a rough go of it, but you got ballers like Luis Castillo. You got MVP candidates like Cal Raleigh. This is what I'm talking about. This is exactly what this team needed. Reinforcements are coming. Reinforcements are coming. George Kirby will get better. Hopefully, Bryce Miller is able to strengthen his arm a little bit and is able to get back to doing the things that he does, man. Dude, freaking get Logan Gilbert back in the mix. Brian Wu and Luis Castillo have been holding it down. And Andres Munoz has had a couple of rough ones in a row. He was literally invincible for almost 2 months. But every time you think that you're invincible at baseball, these dudes get you, and that's what happened. I am not worried about Munoz at all. 2 straight blown saves. I get it. I would still take him over probably any reliever in baseball. All this being said, y'all, all this being said, Mariners are 32-26. We're in first place. That's 32-26. We're in first place, but only a half game ahead of Houston. I've said this a million times, and if I haven't, I said it a billion. Houston has a winning pedigree. They have a winning organization. They have a winning philosophy. They're not going away anytime soon. And look at their pitching staff and looking at their lineup. They got ballers all over the place. So, my moral of the story here, baby, Mariners, keep it going. Seattle Mariners, man, keep it going, dude. We're behind y'all. We got a homestand coming up here to start the beautiful month of June with 3 versus Baltimore and 3 versus those damn Anaheim Angels. I don't know why I don't like those cats. Anyways, y'all know what time it is. I'm Ty Talks 24. We got to give a huge shout out to super producer Nashville out there in Nashville, Tennessee. That's Mr. Indy, Vaden Podcast Services. Vaden Podcast Services getting the job done. Got to give a huge shout out to my wife, Miss Katie. Mrs. Katie, thank you so much for helping out with all the social media stuff. And then, of course, the best co-host a dude could ask for, RG, baby, representing Albuquerque. I'm your boy, Ty Talks. My, oh my, it's another sports podcast. Get at us, people.